What's up, everybody, and welcome to Every Week We Follow. I am solo today. We are live on YouTube. Uh, this is our Aston Villa versus Lille review, preview. Sorry, not review. James is currently on holiday, and I've not been very well the last couple of days. Had a bit of an infection, so I haven't had a chance to do the preview as we usually would. So this is solo flying on YouTube. Not expecting a massive amount of people on here because I'm sure you're all at work, but any that uses YouTube will know that it's just a question of when you do something live, it gets straight out there, so it's a little bit quicker. So you can watch this after you finish work or whatever. If you go to Villa Park tonight, I will see you there. Make sure you come and say hi. I'll be in and around the Villa Lion by the warehouse about an hour before kick-off, so make sure you come and say hello. Okay, right. This is it then. It is the second leg, round of 16. Listen, these are the nights we live for, yeah? Under the lights at Villa Park, European knockout football. Aston Villa versus Lille OSC. Like I said, Europa League, round of 16, second leg, where everything is on the line. This feels like not just another game. It feels like we have to make a statement. This is about showing Europe what the Villa side is made of, right? We know we've been a little bit hit and miss over the last few weeks and the form's dips, but Emery has built something special here. Truly believe that. So tonight we find out how far this team can go. Right. So let's get into it. Now, for me, this is what football is all about. Knockout football in the European stages, no second chances. It's not going to be an easy game, but Villa Park should be absolutely rocking tonight. We know how it gets under the lights. I'm so looking forward to it. Optimism is back. Now, look, Villa have been building something special this season. I know that it's been up and down, and we've had, poor start, 11-game unbeaten run, but overall, fantastic season. And so for this competition, this is a real chance to make a statement in Europe and secure our spot, or one step closer to securing our spot in the Champions League next season. But look, Lille are going to be no pushovers. They're going to be disciplined side. They've got plenty of European experience. Although they haven't won in England, which is really interesting. So anyway, let's talk about the Villa, right? Under Unai Emery, this team has transformed tactically, right? It's sharp, it's confident in possession, and ruthless on the counter attack when it's firing, right? We know that the last few weeks is there, but overall, in the 4 years that Emery's been in charge, he's been pretty good, right? So key things to watch tonight: our high defensive line. Will Lille exploit it? Have to win tonight, finish this strong? Yes, Seymour, we absolutely have to. Will we finish strong? Midfield control. Can we dictate the tempo? Now, look, we know that we play slow possession-based football, but we need that midfield to kind of basically do the magic, right? And that's what's important. So we kind of, we've got an opportunity to do something that can, just like when we played Bologna, right? And it kick-started our season. Can we tonight win, right? Go into that game against West Ham on Sunday, beat them 2. We get a 3-week break then where we can get Tillemans back and camp. So it could be the catalyst that gives us that final push to get over the line, because we know how important the Champions League qualification is going to be, right? So let's see indeed what happens. So just get my ugly mug out the shot there. Nobody wants to see that. And where were we? Okay, yeah. So talking about Unai Emery and the midfield tempo, weren't we? Sorry, just had a message. This is live TV. Anyway, so look, the home advantage is key, right? Villa Park. If you are going tonight, let's get this place absolutely rocking, right? We know what it can be like under the European nights, and we know what it can be like when things aren't going our way. Now, look, I think this should be a comfortable. After watching the first leg last week, I thought we more or less controlled the game, and we should have won the game by more goals. Right? It's all about being clinical, right? So, can we just finish it off and hopefully be able to maybe rest a couple of players in the second half and really go into that West Ham game Sunday to get a victory, because these are two massive games. This is, for me, is where our season will be defined. We've spoke about it on the show before, about the next few weeks being massively important to where we're going to finish in the season, and we're not in a great run of form, but we've got time to turn it around. And if anyone can do it, it's Unai Emery, right? So with the home advantage, players to watch, right? For me, I I've just talked about that midfield. We've got to win it. I think Barkley against Man United on Sunday was probably one of our better midfielders. I think we should start with him and Onana again. That's what I would go with. I think he's got that forward passing ability that Douglas Luiz doesn't quite have. He's not as good as Yuri Tillemans, but that 10-minute display in the second half when he scored, I thought he was very good on the ball. It's just, the rest of the team that kind of let him down, and defensively we weren't very good. Talked a little bit about the movement up front on Sundays, on Monday morning's weekly thought show with Sam. Watkins has been poor. Will Tammy get the nod? Because if I think back, even with Watkins in the team, when we played Fenerbahce and Newcastle away, and I know we had Tillemans in that squad, but we played some lovely football in the final third. Like, the attacking options were there. We really moved the ball really well. Haven't seen that in the last few weeks, but this is I would expect, with the tempo of the game today being a European tie, that we will have the opportunity to kind of get that back, like we did against Fenerbahce, to really move them around and create some chances. So I'm hopeful tonight. And of course, we need to be clinical in the final third. Look, we won 1-0 last week, but we should have won 2 at least. Ollie Watkins had a great chance. So can we be clinical in that final third? I think Villa will need all three of those. The creativity in the midfield, the movement up top, and then the finishing. Do that, and we might just win this game comfortably. So, it's going to be an interesting one, right? Now, on to Lille. Look, as I said before, they haven't won in England in European football in, I think, 6 or 7 attempts, I think it is. But they are organised, and they are quick in transition, and can be very dangerous if we give them space. Having said that, they're not the same team that we played in 2024. They've lost key players in the last couple of years, so they're not the threat that they were. And I thought they were poor last week in the first leg. I really did. It'll be interesting to see how Lille approach the match being 1-0 down, because this is the kind of team that can punish mistakes. So we're not completely underestimating them. And obviously, there's no easy European fixtures, right? But especially away from home, I think they obviously will probably sit back and try and counter-attack us, right? So we cannot be afford to be slippy. We can't afford to be slippy and sloppy in defence, because we know that high line that we can play. We know that if they do decide to press us, that there's a mistake in us. So it's going to be an interesting battle. I'll see how they set up. Talked about it before. So here are the key battles that could decide the game. We spoke about it at the start. It's the midfield battle, right? That is, again, key. Who's he going to go for? What's going to happen? And who controls the pace of the game, right? And I think after last week, I think we will do that. It's just whether we can kind of be proactive in our forward play. So, and that happens in the wide areas, right? So whoever plays in that front three, whether which we'll get into in just a second, can Villa stretch Lille? Can we stretch them to create space in the middle for whoever plays, whether that be Watkins or Tammy Abraham, right? It's going to be interesting. And of course, early goal must for Villa. 2-goal deficit will be enough to see them off. Yes, another Villa Park podcast. Can't disagree with that. I'd love that. Got early goal in each half, and put it to bed. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, set pieces again. Look, saw an interesting chat about this on. Unfortunately, it was Mark Aldridge. But if you look at, I didn't want to do this, but sorry, Newcastle fans, you won't see this. But yeah, look, the fall from grace from Newcastle, by the way, massive. Barcelona absolutely terrorised them yesterday. and it got people talking, Goldbridge in particular, about the state of the football in the Premier League and how we are heavily reliant on how tactical it is, and that set pieces are massive, and that the flow of playing football, if you will, like that Barcelona team do, like PSG do, like Bayern Munich do. We haven't got this obsession with set piece coaches and long throwing specialists and all that kind of stuff that doesn't seem to exist in European football. And when we get to these latter stages of the Champions League, when it comes down to head to head stuff, these teams like your PSGs, your Barcelonas are just absolutely destroying English teams. That game yesterday was a mastermind in football. It's kind of like, okay, we play the high line, which we do, but you score 2, we score 7. It's just, and I know that it's probably a little bit more physical in England, but Newcastle didn't get anywhere near Barcelona yesterday. But as again, I'll go down to the point that set pieces will be important, and we have Austin McFraud. I am so frustrated with our set pieces, and I know the stats say different, that we've been high up there with goals scored and all that, but I still can't find the stat with how often we give the ball away from a set piece, because it happened on Sunday against Man United. It's happened in every game where it feels to me that 9 times out of 10 when we have a set piece, it either ends in a chance for the opposition or the ball goes out of play. So, like, I don't want to be relying on that. Like I said at the start, I'd rather see us playing free-flowing football that I know we can play under Emery, that we've seen, but that comes down to the confidence and the passion. And have they got that in the abundance? Because if we've got that, we give ourselves a fighting chance. Anyway, right, let's get on to the starting lineup. And here it is, right? So this is my predicted 11. I'm going to go through it. Let me know yours in the comments if you're interested in that kind of stuff. I would look. There's a chance to win the quarterfinals. It's a massive point in our season, so he's got to try and get this right. And this is one of the. I don't know in terms of. Do you know what? That is the wrong starting 11. Let's come off that a second. What has gone on there? Right. We'll come into that. Let me try and get that's the wrong starting 11. That's last week's game. Let's find the right one. Give me 1 second. So look, yeah, that was, I've looked at that and just thought, that's absolutely horrified. That's not the one. Lineup builder. Was it this one? No. Here we go. Right, let's get this on. Right, there we go. No, there. This is the one. Right, bear with me. Technical issues. James isn't here. He's buggered off holiday. This is what happens. Oh, and I don't like that view at all. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we can get into it. It wouldn't be every week we follow if we didn't fuck up at some point, right? So it's always me. So this is the starting 11 that I'm going for today, which I think is, if we can get this right, and I know that 9 times out of 10, I'm always wrong with these, and Unai Emery knows far more about football than I ever will. But just trying to see, this is a fan perspective, right? And I watch this team week in, week out, and this for me is the team that could go and potentially get goals. Now, back four, obviously, if Cash is fit, playing, right? Because Bogard at right back, unfortunately, fortunately for him in the European tie, I thought he was excellent last week in this fixture. I think the pace suited him. But against Chelsea and Man United, he was exposed big time. Of course, Barkley not in the Europa League squad. Fuck's sake. Schoolboy error. You know what? I even knew that as well. I just thought he was our best player on Sunday. Okay, so we're going to have to scrap that one. Barkley out of that one, and which means probably Douglas Luiz fits into that role, and that's fine. It's a shame. But other than that, Matson at left back. I'd love to see Sancho down the left-hand side, because I think those two haven't been given an opportunity to link up. Pau as well. I think he just deals well with the European football. I think it's a pace he can deal with. And then obviously Konza. scrap out Barkley because I got that wrong. Thank you. I can't believe I fucked that up again. I knew that. We knew that last week as well, which is why I put Louise in there. So Louise will play that. I have a good feeling tonight it's not put Swatkin on the bench. Seymour, I hope so, mate. It has to for me. Anana as well. Another chance for him to step up to the plate. I'm hoping that with McGinn back into contention, because last week when McGinn came on for the last 15 minutes or so, I thought Anana's game raised. I thought he was much better. And for a £50 million player, we really need to see this guy step up to the plate and show some leadership qualities, just like McGinn can, because he does have it in there. Right, we've seen some excellent performances from him this season. Man City, Arsenal, the guy was an absolute beast. It's about being consistent, right? So I really was hoping that with that midfield trio that we've had out, that he would step up to the plate. He hasn't done that yet. That's not to say that he can't. So come on, Amadou. Tonight's the night. Let's get those fist bumps in, going with the halt at the end, having you dominated this game and been one of those leaders. And then obviously Rogers, Sancho, and McGinn behind Tammy. Now, for me, having McGinn back's massive. The energy he can bring, right? I just, hopefully will galvanise Rogers and get Sancho kind of, in and amongst the assists and goals, because what I don't want to see for me, under no circumstances, is Leon Bailey and Ollie Watkins. Now, I know this is going to be frustrating when it comes to it. Lille was slow and bonus. We need to be quick and fast movements. Their defence isn't the most mobile at all. Yeah, exactly. I thought exactly the same, mate. And hopefully we can do that, right? It's about that tempo. I've said it at the start. If we can control that tempo in midfield, right? And I worry with Douglas Luiz in there, that forward passing ability kind of goes. But he could still drop Dougie and play McGinn in that holding role, and bring Bailey in or something like that. So let's wait and see. I'm watching and impending with open eyes what the starting lineup's going to be. But I really believe that Tammy has to start today. I think it's just, if he doesn't, questions have to be asked about what is Unai's philosophy around our striking position and Ollie Watkins, because there's no justification now as to what Ollie's bringing to the team. Like, his performance on Sunday was absolutely abysmal again. He's not doing, people who keep saying to me, yeah, but it's what he brings to the team. He fits the system. Well, yeah, but he's not doing the things that he used to do. That used to involve running and stretching defenders, and holding the ball up. And that hasn't happened in a while. So this is a frustrating contention for me, because I'm not saying that Tammy's better. Like, when he came on Sunday, he got half an hour on Sunday, and that's got to be a positive sign. Maybe that's it, because he's only been given 15, 20 minutes, max, up until this point. So maybe half an hour is leading to that start, right? And he didn't look sharp, and that's probably down to match minutes, but he's keen for it. You can tell that. He's giving Unai Emery absolute daggers looking at as the play's progression, and as the clock ticks on, and he's not been given that opportunity. And he's still scored more goals than Ollie Watkins in recent times, even though he's had minimal starts. So, yeah, I would love to see Tammy start tonight. I think he's going to play with his. If he does, he'll play with his heart on his sleeve, and he'll get the Villa Park crowd going, and that's important, right? I said it at the start. Let's kind of get it in. So, all right then. Look, it's a solo time, so we're going to kind of get into the predictions, right? Let's do it. Let's do it. Even educated, please do it. And I think this should be a comfortable victory. I do. I think if Unai's got anything about him, he will have gotten around the players after the Man United defeat about this week, hopefully, and said, "Look, this is it. This is where it ends, I guess. Right? We have to kind of go out there and give a performance, and a statement, as I said at the start of the show." So I'm going to back them, right? Because the players have, like Konza and Watkins, have got on our backs and said we're not supporting them. And I hope today, under the lights, that there'll be a rocking atmosphere at Villa Park, and we keep a clean sheet. And I said it as a clue in the show. I think an early goal, right, at the start of each half, and we win this game 2-0, right? And scorers for me, I'm going to go, hopefully, Tammy Abraham. I'd love to see him get on the score sheet, and I'd love to see Jadon Sancho pop in again like he did against Fenerbahce. So that's my prediction. Let me know yours in the comments, and how you're feeling about the game. If you enjoyed the show and you enjoy our content, make sure you just hit that subscribe button. We're over on TikTok as well. We'll cruising towards 10k 10k followers on there. So make sure you go and check us out. Look, this is our chance to get one foot in the quarterfinals. It's been overall, I'm going to say, an emotional season. We've had highs and lows, and I've said this so many times before that we are on the verge of something great. And people have come at me in the comments about you've done nothing right. This are opposing fans, and you go, well, yeah, we've qualified for Europe for 4 seasons in a row, right? And under Unai Emery, if we can bring this trophy home, it's legendary status, regardless of whatever happens in the summer. This has to be a focus. And again, my running theme for the last 2 weeks has been, come on, Villa squad, show us you want this. Show us the passion for this badge, right? Go out there and prove us all the doubters wrong. Let's go and get into the quarterfinals. Let's bring this trophy home. Let's give Unai Emery legendary status. Let's get the statue built with him and John McGinn. Right, I'm buzzing because it's game day. Right, so come on, 2-0 under the lights at Villa Park. You know where it's at. If you're at Villa Park later, come and check me out. We'll be in around the Lion just before kick-off, about an hour or so. Come and say hi. I think I might be meeting up with Walkie from TikTok as well to shoot some stuff. He's going dressed as Unai Emery. So yeah, come and say hi and enjoy the game. Stay safe. And I'll see you after the game as well, live on TikTok for post-match reaction. And hopefully tomorrow, if I can jump on, I might jump on and do a live post-match reaction as well. Anyway, we'll see you later. And as always, every week we follow the boys in claret and blue. Peace.